What does International Women's Day mean to you?
It's a celebration, but it's also an annual check-in to look at what action needs to take place so that gender equality is normal globally.
It's a day where we can remember the contributions of women both in the workplace and in society.
It's a chance to recognise the successes and the struggles of women.
It enables us to pause and reflect on what is sadly perhaps the most long-lasting and biggest injustice.
What change do we think there's been over the last 10 years?
In most of the Western world, women have now gained a seat at the table, and it's great to have the chance to celebrate the success.
A lot has been achieved in the last decade or so, especially after the Me Too movement, where there has been a reckoning of sorts in society.
And I don't think it's been consistent across all countries and all communities, unfortunately.
I've seen a huge amount of change in terms of how many senior women we now see regularly.
But this still tends to be celebrated as something unique rather than the norm.
So much has been achieved over the past 10 years. Together we can do so much more.
The number of CEOs who are female in FTSE Top 500 is still shockingly low.
There's still a way to go until we can hopefully reach a point where we don't need an International Women's Day, because that's just every day.
So what needs to be done globally to achieve gender equality?
If I was to pick two, one would be to ensure equal pay between men and women, and I think the other would be to ensure frameworks in place to support men playing a greater role in the family.
It's amazing in this day and age, the number of times I still go into meetings and I'm the only woman there. That can't be right.
The emotional labour still falls on women. But my experiences are still those of privilege. That's part of the problem. It is even harder if you are a woman of colour.
Men and women have to have equal representation where key decisions are being made, whether that's on a micro level like in a family or in a small company to on a macro level in government and large organisations.
There's still huge issues with poverty and lack of education.
What does your workplace have in place to improve gender equality?
I'm lucky that I'm working for an employer that takes these issues very seriously. It has a gender programme in place, it has a broader diversity programme in place.
We have a really strong female leadership team that ensure that gender equality is really very much part of the DNA of the company.
I've been encouraged to speak my mind, to not be afraid to come up with new ideas and share them with the team. Actually, our team is majority female.
Ultimately though, I think it's important that RELX doesn't view this as a box-ticking exercise, and every year it tries to do more.
What do you do to personally achieve gender equality?
I've become more mindful of the source of my products with the aim to encourage female entrepreneurship and women-led businesses.
I'm just increasingly trying to become more visible in my profession and as myself. Seeing other women speaking at events inspired me to become more active and then hopefully down the road maybe instill confidence in another woman.
I also make sure to stand up for my female peers when I see injustice. I celebrate their achievements and I share information when I see an opportunity.
I hire great women to run my company. I think that has a lasting impact on my business and the people that work in it.
What I personally try to do is support other women as much as I can through emotional support. It could be through mentoring.
Ultimately, if there's structural inequality, that needs systemic change.
How has the pandemic influenced gender equality?
Women have been really very much on the front line of the pandemic.
Outstanding female leadership.
More women have lost their jobs as a result of the pandemic.
Lots of outlets that women could turn to, maybe women that were in difficult situations.
But I have been pleased to see that for many, the flexibility of home working has meant that fathers can spend more time with their children.
What do you think of the strapline I choose to challenge?
I think I choose to challenge is a great strapline. In fact, I choose to challenge the perception that women can do it all.
I choose to challenge those who underestimate me because I'm a woman.
Choose the challenge.
Former US Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg says, when I'm sometimes asked about when there will be enough women on the Supreme Court, I answer when there are 9. And she said that this shocked people, but that there had been 9 men on the court before and nobody raised a question.
I dream of a world where we don't have to celebrate International Women's Day, because we've been able to achieve perfect gender equality.
Thank you, and happy International Women's Day.